just as you thought that you were done with the game, it throws yet another monkey wrench in your way. Welcome to the bonus chapter of Super Meat Boy, entitled The Cotton Alley. And hooray for the third cutscene in a row which uses this music! And just in case you couldn't tell, this is a recreation of the opening cutscene of Ghosts and Goblins for the NES. The tables have turned. Meat Boy is now the Mister in distress, while Bandage Girl is the heroine. And our first challenge will be a pretty sizable one, considering that she has to go through 20 of the toughest levels that the entire game has to offer for you. So, Cotton Alley is waiting for you with its hope and harm, and it's incredibly happy and upbeat music. I mean, this is an interesting contrast into the zone, because even though the music is so cheerful and carefree, the actual levels themselves will pretty much make you want to tear your own hair out of your head. Oh nice, a Pink Floyd reference. But yeah, concerning these levels, if you decide to play the game the way that Teammate intended you to do, which is to play through the light world first, then you're pretty much asking for trouble, because there is a huge difficulty gap between Light World the End and this. If anything, we're talking more about Dark Rapture or Dark Hell difficulty here. But even harder, believe it or not. This level does a really good job of looking incredibly intimidating, if only because of the huge area of rotating saw blades, but as long as you're standing close to the pedestals where the saw blades swing, you're safe. But yeah, don't jump too fast, otherwise you will die. Obviously, you have to take things slow here, because otherwise you will die a million of times trying to go through all of this, and even the slightest jumps here can pretty much throw you off just because you aren't paying attention at all. Uh-oh, there's way too much traffic into this area. Okay, here we go, we're safe. And knowing my luck, I'm pretty much gonna die into a very stupid way at the end. Okay, or not. I know a whole lot of people see this level and usually think, oh my god, how the hell are you supposed to make it through this? But believe it or not, this is one of the simpler levels of the episode. And believe it or not, there is a way to speed through this level. You do not have to start the race too early, you have to start it at the right time, because if you wait long enough, then all of the saw blades will be positioned in such a way so that you can jump through everything without stopping at all. What's gonna await us into this level? Okay, instant teleporting death. Thank you, Lag, I really appreciate your input during this entire LP. And for some reason, I get a whole lot of lag issues onto this one episode in particular. There's a whole lot of levels where the game will suddenly decide to skip around for absolutely no reason, and then you will simply die. Even when I'm not recording, I sometimes have this issue. As you'll probably notice, Cotton Alley is pretty much a mixture from all of the episodes into the game. The first few levels were all about the forest gameplay, now we're moving into the hospital. Even though all of the levels use different obstacles altogether, the episode remains coherent, if only because all of the levels share the same graphical style of having this pink hue all over the screen, as well as having this very sparse background, which is pretty much the same for every single level. A whole lot of the levels in Cotton Alley are pretty barren. And as you can see here, they really don't have much in the way of decoration. Now, this is totally unfunded on my part, but there are times where this episode really feels like a collection of reject levels that pretty much was, okay, we need to test out the gameplay, so we're gonna do this, and yeah, good job once again, game, of being incredibly laggy. But yeah, for instance, this is a level in which they could have tested out how the little blobby things work, because, I mean, come on, just look at this. Why the hell will they leave this huge, easy-to-access shortcut at the bottom of the level? There is no reason to play this level legitimately. I don't know anyone who plays this level legitimately. And in fact, I'm attempting to play this level the way it is meant to be played for the first time ever. I've never taken this path once. No joke. As you'll be watching this, you'll be wondering, I wonder why more people aren't taking this path, because it seems action-packed and fun. Oh my god, can we please be done with this level? This is getting boring already. I mean, come on, why would you play the level this way? There's no reason at all. Bad level! Bad level! Haha, not bad level. I really like this level, if only because I'm usually a fan of levels that are incredibly simplistic and yet manage to be a whole lot more trickier than they look. The conveyor belts don't really serve much of a purpose into this level, but they're pretty much here to fuck around with you if you're too slow to do your wall jumps. With that said, trying to speedrun through this level is pretty much an open invitation to insanity, because there's always this one time where there will be a saw blade into the final box where they will pretty much be into your way and impossible to avoid. Now, this level right here is pretty much the one proof that shows that the people who made this game are assholes. There is simply so much that can go wrong into this one level, and basically you're only having your jumping and your wall sliding in order to help you here. Just like in the end, you're locked to using Bandage Girl here, which thankfully behaved the same as Meat Boy, just in case that you couldn't notice already. But yeah, whenever you're wall sliding, you're pretty much a painted target, because it'll be incredibly hard for you to dodge rockets here, considering that there'll be a whole lot of them flying into your way, either at the same time or at totally different intervals, which can make things incredibly difficult. You don't really want to rush to this level, but at the same time, if you're too slow, you're simply gonna die. As showcased right here, and as I will probably showcase even more through the course of this video. We're not done with this level yet, folks! Ho ho ho! So this is definitely where you see that the difficulty really isn't that linear anymore, but come on, this is a bonus chapter, so in short, things are supposed to be this way. You knew that by playing this one episode, you will pretty much become a broken human being who will curl up onto the floor of his bathroom floor, sobbing uncontrollably until you can't possibly cry anymore because there's no further liquid into your body. But the most fucked up part of this level is that the Dark World version of this level is a whole lot less hectic than that. In fact, it's a million times easier than this. Whew! That's the last time I'm rescuing you, Meat Boy. Because just look at all of the pain and torment that I'm going through. And yeah, Meat Boy unfortunately did the same, so there's not gonna be any sympathy here. I really don't like this level a whole lot, but on the flip side, you get a fucked up replay at the end, so this is a plus. Oh my god, this is one annoying level. Just by looking at it, you can already guess that things will go incredibly well for me here. Oh ho ho, there's not gonna be any kind of problems here. You have to be constantly on the move, and whenever you jump, usually the rocket will have some chance to hover into the air and pretty much start circling all around you. And considering that this rocket launcher is on crack or on salt, whatever you want, you're gonna have to pull off incredible acrobatics here. And I really like it whenever the saw blades hover over the salt because their poles are simply floating into nothing. For quite a lot of these levels, you can guess that the development team probably didn't sweat a whole lot whenever they did the graphical design of these. They really just made this chapter in order to be dicks to the people who play the game, as in, oh, you finally finished the game, but no, we have 40 levels for you that are even worse than anything that you've seen into the game so far. Also, the opening on top of the saw blades is especially more annoying because you would wish that you simply be able to shortcut your way through this level in order to not deal with the level gimmick, but as far as I know, it's not possible to shortcut through this level at all. So here we go, we have a simple looking level and a very simple playing level as well. Yep, that's all that there is to this one. Is it just me or the Salt Factory levels of Cotton Alley have not been very good in overall? So it's about time that we move on to Hell, while we're being chased by Pepto-Bismol. Which, as you probably guess, is lava, which has been colored pink instead of the usual color that it is. And before you wonder, I really had a hard time figuring out that these levels were from Hell. I really wondered what could have clued me in. Yeah, the level structure itself looks a whole lot darker, if only because the tiles from this one tile set are a whole lot darker than in other episodes for some reason. All of the tiles into Hell are really brown, while the rest of the game usually is pretty grey, or green if you're talking about the forest. As for this level, it's possible to get all 4 keys that are circling around the eyeball in only one jump, but it's incredibly hard to do, and I've never been able to do it. It's possible for me to get 3 keys all at once, but never 4, and yeah, I really don't know what the hell was up with this one bit. And here, another level that looks as annoying as it is. Wait, it's the opposite. It's as annoying as it looks, because yeah, you're stuck onto one wall while you're trying to wall jump all the way up here, and obviously you'll be a sitting duck for all of the Hellmaw launchers. Thankfully, this is the only time that we'll see them into Cotton Alley, at least for the light world. Okay. I really don't want you to think that there was any evil undertone underneath this laugh. Thankfully, the descent part of the level is a whole lot easier than the rest of it, because, well, as long as you hug the walls, the maw launchers will always shoot before you get there, and they usually just hit the ceiling, and none of the clusters will be any kind of threat to you. Oh boy, the return of Gravity Orb, and let's make it the sole obstacle of the entire level, yep. At this point, we're not playing levels anymore, this is just tryouts for the circus already. These are tryouts for the circus which has taken residence into the evil, happy city of dilapidated ruins that are pink. This is pretty much the equivalent of spinning plates on your head. And I'm pretty sure that I will have a much better rate of success if I try to do that instead of playing this level. There's just so many small things that you have to take into account, and whenever you're stuck into some sort of stasis position where you're neither floating or sinking downward, it becomes incredibly hard to go underneath a saw blade, as you might have noticed. I mean, you'll try to back away from the Gravity Orb in order to gain the proper downward momentum in order to be able to go underneath the saw blade, but what will happen is that by trying to go back over it, then you will have descended too low, and by doing so, then there will be no way for you to get your grip back, and yeah, this is what will happen. I usually don't mind Gravity Orbs too much because, well, they're usually part of the level and one obstacle into the way, but don't make Gravity Orbs your only obstacle. In fact, the entire level is pretty shoddy, funny because the entire level is a bottomless pit with one giant pole which is stretching horizontally with a few saw blades in the way. It's probably taken something like 30 minutes to do this level, and for some people this is probably the time that it'll take in order to beat it. How fitting. It's kind of funny how come Bandage Girl is not into the same position into any of these replays. Holy shit, this is loud. This is another one of these levels that look more intimidating than it actually is. If you go really fast to this level, as you can see, you barely have any kind of hindrance here. It helps that it's really easy to dodge the rocket launchers whenever they're firing diagonally, but when they're shooting straight, it's a different story. This is a level that supposedly gives people a whole lot of trouble, but whenever you find the right trick to hit, this is a really easy level, as you've just noticed. You just keep one set of the lamp posts or whatever they're supposed to be for the going, and then one other set for the ride back. Return of the panic switches, which are gonna make you panic because there's so many of them to press. I really love this level though. It's a shame that they didn't do a whole lot more levels like this one where you have to fumble around with a whole lot of switches in quick succession, if only because if you're too slow you will simply be locked behind. Alright, this chapter is almost drawing to a close, but oh ho ho, don't think that you're going off the hook that easily because they've saved the worst level of the episode for last. For a whole lot of people, this is one of their most despised level of the entire game. And it's pretty easy to guess why. The level is incredibly long. For the most part, the obstacles are not too hard to dodge, but the level will become a brand new kind of despicable whenever you'll see the horrible trick that it pulls on you. And also, they've saved the worst part of the entire level for last, which means that whenever you'll die, you have to go through all of this again. You have to repeat this entire sequence over and over again, and you also have to do it really fast because you're probably not aware of it right now, but the power time for this level is incredibly strict. You're not afforded to loaf around. So you cannot be like, okay, I'm gonna take this one obstacle really slow and cautious. No, you have to rush through everything. There's absolutely no time to waste here. You have to go through all of this. Okay, those two saw blades are not in the right place. Who cares? Jump over it anyway because you can! So I guess that this is the end level of the game, even though it doesn't really use the tile set from it, because, I don't know, it plays like a the end level, but it looks more like a Salt Factory level, if only because of the steel infrastructure. Oh, here we go, we've died once again over those incredibly tiny jumps that you have to pull through an incredibly narrow corridor where a saw blade takes the entire place. And as far as I know, these jumps are even more treacherous than they were into Rapture, so congratulations on being double assholes. I mean, this is the longest level of the entire game, at least. For a whole lot of people it is, because usually a good run to this level will be over in about 40 seconds. I mean, it's possible to go faster than that on most levels of the Dark World, the end. But yeah, this level is incredibly long, and the hardest section of the level is at the very end of it. So in conclusion, you can say the 4-letter word to the people who have made this game, because this is a huge dick move. I do not applaud this level at all. I mean, you're already nervous enough, but they throw all these obstacles at you. Okay, now don't fuck up, don't... Oh my... Fuck you, you piece of shit! Oh my god, please tell me what is wrong with you. Is there anything bad that happened into your childhood? Because we can talk over it. We've got time, you know. And we have to replay through all of this again too. How fun, because just in case that you didn't play this section of the game more than enough, well, here we go, play it once more, because what it's gonna do for you anyway. At this point of the level, the progress almost seems like it goes down to a trickle, because the always at the beginning are so long, but here they become so narrow. So, alright, final jump, here we go! We're finally done with the Cotton Alley. At least we're done with the light world version of it all. Because yeah, things will somehow get worse, because we still have the dark world to go through. But in the meantime, enjoy this victory lap through the worst level of the entire game. I ended up cutting a whole lot of deaths here, if only because I wanted to show the most brutal ones, and finally the replay would pretty much show my whole journey to this level anyway, so in conclusion, it was not needed to show everything. At this point, the level just becomes far more tedious if you show everything that happens into it. So that'll be it for the Cotton Alley, because there are no bosses, but come on, these 20 levels compensate for the absence of a boss. So that'll be it for this video. Stay tuned for the final update of the thread, as we play the last set of levels that you were not supposed to be playing. Into Dark World Cotton Alley.